Welcome, Taron Egerton.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm quite overwhelmed actually. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Congratulations, because Kingsman has made over $400 million
I know. It's
worldwide.
amazing, isn't it?
And this is your first film.
Yes,
not a bad way
this
to
is my
start.
first film. Yes.
Yeah.
I made this in late 2013, and I've done a couple of other little bits since, but this was my first experience. Yeah.
In fact, the first day you set foot on the set of Kingsman was the first time you'd set foot on a film set.
It was
Isn't
indeed.
that right?
It was. Yeah,
you
I
tell me about
remember it. I was on set with Colin, I think, and we were doing. I can't remember what scene it was, but it was. Yeah, it was surreal and amazing, and extraordinary, and I'm a very, very lucky boy.
Did you get any sleep the night before?
No, none whatsoever. Although Colin did actually leave me a very, very, very lovely voicemail.
That kind of helped.
I know, it was lovely. Yeah, I just
4 in the
sat
morning.
there listening to it going, oh my God. But,
So how did the role come about for you? 'Cause was it a long, arduous audition process for you?
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was making a television show called The Smoke at the time, and I got this sort of like a breakdown through from my agent. I didn't get sent the script because you often don't with films of this scale because they're kind of kept under wraps, and they said you can go and meet Matthew Vaughn for this role in this film, and they sent me 2 scenes, and it was the pub scene and something else, I can't remember. But I just remember reading it and thinking, I don't know, it's a really weird feeling sometimes. You read a part and you have to do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it was such a huge, monumental kind of challenge getting a role like this because there were lots of brilliant young actors up for it, and lots of them who were far more established than I was or am. And but I read it and I just sort of knew I had to do it, really. And what started was a kind of 5-week process where Matthew kind of made me do running around and dive rolls, and I tried to sort of see if I could pretend to be a spy.
In the first meeting, just run around. Just
That's
run around
it.
a bit.
Just run around, just do something.
Now roll a bit. And the actual, the minute you got the role,
Yes,
did he call you? Did Matthew call you? How did that happen?
he did. He called me on a Saturday morning. I was still in bed, and he didn't. No, it was like 11 o'clock as well. I'd been out the night before, and he didn't actually say, "Hi, Taron, I'd like to offer you the part." He went, "Okay, so I think I might be able to offer you this part, but here's what you've got to do," and sort of listed this kind of string of caveats. And I said, "Can I tell my mum?" And he said, "No." And I was like, "When can I tell my mum?" And he said, "On Monday. Let me think about it." So, and then Monday, it call came through, and I told my mum.
Can you mention any of the caveats he attached? What did he tell
Get
you?
fit.
Get fit? Like you weren't already?
I wasn't then, I'm not now. Yes, get fit. He said, no, here's what he said. He said, because you know I'll potentially own you for 6 years. And I went, right, okay. Yes, okay, sure. Okay. Anyway, it depends how well it does. And all sorts of other things, you know, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm not painting a very good picture of him. He's a lovely, lovely, lovely man. He's a lovely man.
Everyone I know who's worked with Matthew Vaughn does the same impression of him.
Yeah, it's probably a bit unkind, actually. He doesn't really sound like that. He's my great friend and I love him, but it's nice to take the mick a little bit of ribbon.
But he does own you now, is that right?
Yes, he does own me, yeah. He allowed me to take the handcuffs off for this talk, actually. It only happens sort of 2 or 3 times a year.
So let's talk about the role itself, because Eggsy is, of course, a kid for me. Everyone here has seen it, by the way, just to make sure we're not going to give away any spoilers or anything.
Yeah, that would have been ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Can you imagine?
Because I haven't done anything else, so I don't know why else you'd be.
You've seen it, right? Okay, just to double
What's
check.
it called?
It's called Kingsman.
Oh yes, I caught it on the plane, yeah.
The Kingsman, I believe. So the role itself, Eggsy's from the wrong side of the tracks.
He is.
You do not seem to be from the wrong side of the tracks.
I'm have lived a very sort of cushy kind of, you know, Welsh idyllic countryside upbringing. I'm not from an affluent background, but I've never wanted for anything. You know, I have a great family, really secure, and Eggsy's, you know, had a tough a tough time of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into the character?
How did I get into the character? Well, I tried to learn that nightmare of an accent, and I listened to a lot of Plan B just to try and get that sort of urban London sound. Yeah. I'd love to say there was more to my... I'd be rubbish on Inside the Actors Studio, wouldn't I?
Just listen to some Plan B.
Yeah. Listen to a bit of Plan B. Yeah, that was about it, really. And obviously, you kind of spend a lot of time really reading it. And Jane and Matthew, brilliant writers, and he's a brilliant character. A very three-dimensional, fully realised young man, I think, and just spent a lot of time really reading it and sort of trying to get under the skin of him, really.
Did you have to go through sort of lessons in... Because obviously at some point, again, not to spoil it too much, but Eggsy becomes a gentleman spy and has...
A lethal crime-fighting machine.
He doesn't have all the rough edges sanded off, but he does know how to comport himself and wears the suit. Did you have to learn all this stuff as well?
No, I mean, in terms of the... I never really felt like I was sort of playing a different sort of part at the end of it in that, Sam Jackson's party scene. It just felt like, to be honest, I was doing a slightly camper version of Colin. Sort of got the suit. The suit kind of makes you sound straight. I'll do Colin. I just thought camp him up a little bit. Yeah, that was my thinking. Again, not going to be asked to go on Inside the Actors Studio, am I? Yeah, I think there's something about the suit. The lovely thing about his kind of My Fair Lady journey through it is those clothes do all the work for you, really, So at the start, you're in the jeans and the Air Force Ones and a bomber jacket, and it kind of it conditions the way you move. You move in a very relaxed sort of street kind of way, and then when you put the suit on, all of a sudden you stand tall, and you kind of adopt a persona, and yeah.
Well, speaking of Colin,
I won't be writing any books about acting anytime soon.
Oh. Speaking of Colin, we actually have a clip now. We were just talking backstage there. This is your favourite scene.
I love this scene. I love this scene because it was one of Colin's last days just before I started filming the all that running around the tunnels thing, which very nearly killed me. Actually, doing all that, you will not believe how long that took to film. And it was one of Colin's last days, and I'd been working with Matthew for a long time. And I felt, to begin with, he'd sort of kind of been quite hands-on with me, and it was at that stage in the shoot where I felt very much like I could kind of take a bit of license with things. There's a couple of lines of my own in this scene. And that was just a lovely day. It just felt really creative. Colin and I were having a laugh. It was just lovely. I just love the scene.
Well, let's take a look. It's the scene in the weapons scene. The weapons scene. Let's take a look. Thank you. There you go. So was that an ad lib from you, the nod to Mr. Hitler?
That is sick.
Yeah, no, the.
Oh no, that was Matthew. I remember as well when he came up to me. He said, "Right, okay, this is because in the script, the thing, obviously, the script, the wordy thing with the binding. It didn't actually say it was a Nazi salute." So he came up to me, he said, "I want you to do this thing," and I was just like, oh my God, I was envisaging, my first film just alienating one huge section of Europe, and people laugh, and that's great.
Fantastic. So Oxford's not Brogues.
Oxford's not Brogues.
Now, I asked Matthew Fawn about this, and I said, why Oxford's not Brogues? And his reply was, if you don't understand, then you're not a Kingsman. So I'm not a Kingsman, quite clearly, so I'm going to put you in the spot. What does Oxford's not Brogues mean? You just mouthed the S word, so maybe...
Chris, I mean...
You're winging it, aren't you?
No.
You're just making this up.
The thing you've got to understand is... I actually don't know. It's something to do with... It's something... He did tell me, but I switched off. It's something to do with, the broguing was no wait.
It's a good winging. It's fine.
The broguing was added as it was like a rain guard or something, but it was from a place. It came from a place that's not Oxford, so maybe something to do with the academic snobbery.
Yeah.
This is going out all over the world.
I'm buying it. I'm buying it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
If that's not what it really means, then that's what it's going to be on the internet from now on. So that's all fine.
Yeah.
But working with Colin, So he left you a voicemail the night before you worked together for the first time, but presumably you'd met before then, you had done rehearsals.
Yes, we'd met a bit. I remember I met him, the first time I met him was with Mark Strong as well. We had a read-through of some of the scenes, and he was just immediately very good to me. I'm reluctant to gush about Colin, because people continually make these videos suggesting a relationship other than that of two very good friends and work colleagues. But you didn't make it, did you?
I was not aware of this. Is this...
There's a really weird one of like a monologue I did at drama school underscoring images of me. It's never Colin looking longingly at me either. It's always me looking longingly at Colin, and it's just a... Anyway.
So tell me about the first time you met Colin and gazed dreamily into his eyes.
First time I met Colin, he was just, you know, I think he... My preconception of him was that he was, you know, he plays lots of quite held men, quite sort of, often quite emotionally inarticulate parts sometimes, you know, with King's Speech and Single Man, often quite, you know, some of his kind of signature roles are quite repressed, and I expected him to be very, very reserved, and the truth is he's a real talker, he's a really chatty, you know, and he was just, you know, very, very, very welcoming and very friendly. And I was obviously nervous because I'd never made a film before, and made sure that I had his mobile telephone number. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. And just, you know, sort of looked after me, really. You know, looked after me throughout the whole shoot. It was a difficult time for me for personal reasons at that time as well. You know, and it was just work was very demanding, and he was just a really good mate. He was a good mate, and he's obviously we all know how good he is at the old acting, but he's just a really good guy.
It's like chemistry, because there's such chemistry between Eggsy rather, and Harry. So you didn't really have to work at that, I guess?
Well, we just sort of found out, we just kind of got to the stage where we were... Do you know when you get to the stage where you're taking the mick out of each other very quickly? It's always a really good sign, you know, because there's nothing, it's not precious between you. And we'd have a laugh with each other, and I think that was kind of, you know, it's important in that dynamic, that sort of slightly odd couple thing between Harry and Eggsy. So yeah, and that, you know, I wouldn't have had the bravery to try and forge that relationship with him. So that's, if anyone's responsible for the chemistry, it's Colin. He was very generous of him. That'll be on YouTube now with ba 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 or something about it. Yeah.
So have you seen these fan videos then? Have you seen there's a fan art as well?
I've watched them. Yeah.
Fan art? Okay.
I've watched them. They're interesting. They're not as disturbing as some of the drawings I've seen on Twitter.
Shall we move on?
What's it called? Shipping. What does that even mean?
Shipping?
Yeah.
We may have opened a can of worms here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a bad term?
I don't know. Is it? No.
Oh, is it?
Fine.
Oh, God.
Okay,
Oh, God.
Good.
Your face made me panic then. I thought I'd said something really rude.
Presumably it's an abbreviation of worshipping?
I think it means relationship.
Relationshipping.
But shipping is in travelling together, maybe? I don't know, shipping, like...
Well,
no?
We've all learned a little bit about ourselves today, which is
You come and do the talk instead.
Should we have another clip?
Yeah, cool, yeah. Cool.
I'll set this one up. This has puppies in it. Please enjoy. There we go. Nicely cut off before the swear word.
Yes, very smooth editing.
Very smooth. The swear word is included in the finished film, of course. So the puppy, JB.
Yes.
You got to work with several dogs, I presume.
Yes, there was a cut. No, the adult dog, George, was one dog. What I associate mostly with George was the smell of hot dogs, because. I mean, obviously, you know, but like the way we used to get him to do what we wanted him to do was that he would, these dog handlers would sort of come over to you and thrust sort of 15 lumps of sausage into your hand. And I just remember, like, what, you know, you put it in your pocket, it's all slimy, and it's like, I don't know, it's not good. Yeah, and then there were two little pugs, and I was very, very fond of the little pugs. They were lovely, really sweet. George's hard work.
Have you tried that since with other actors? The lumps of meat up the sleeve, or?
I did try it with Colin actually at one point. Yeah. No, I haven't.
Oh, fair enough. Let's take some questions now from you guys. We've got some roving microphones going around. There's a couple of hands raised right here, instantly in the middle.
Hi.
Hello.
So firstly, it seems there's a sequel. I was wondering where you'd want Eggsy's story to go, and on behalf of quite a few people on the internet who can't be here, I've been requested to ask if you can sing something for us.
Do you know what? I'm not going to. Because someone asked me to do this at a talk once, ages ago, and I did it, and I immediately regretted it. However, it is something that I'm very, very keen to do. I'm not that good. Like, I'm all right. I mean, it's something I'm very, very keen to do in my career before the Too Distant Future, so it won't be too long, I'm sure, before you hear me doing it. Anyway, there was another more pertinent part to your question. What was it?
Sequel.
Sequel. Yes. Yes, I'm as aware of the rumours as everyone else is, and Matthew hasn't actually... Has he said anything to you? He hasn't said anything to me about it being certain. I know there is the will there, and obviously it's done very well. What would I want to see happen to Eggsy? What would I want to see happen to Eggsy? I don't know. I don't know what I'd want to see happen to Eggsy. I'd like to see, I suppose, you know, with any sequel, you have to kind of expand, you know, and it's already a sort of relatively international story with America and stuff, you know, going over to the hate church and that, and, you know, Sam Valentine's pad. But I guess it would be nice maybe to see the story take a more international turn, you know? Maybe see Eggsy foil some villains in, I don't know where. I'm trying to think of a country where I'm not going to offend someone, but, you know, Wales, yeah, exactly. Yeah, have him in Wales. I would like to see Kingsman 2 set in Wales so I don't have to move very far.
So you just worked with Matthew, obviously, on...
Sugar
You all right?
Fairies, my word.
Easy, boy.
I just
don't
worked
lean
with
back in the chair, I think.
Yes, sorry. Thanks,
You've just worked with Matthew on Eddie the Eagle. So you
Yes.
weren't badgering him all the way through that, going, what's happening next, what's happening next?
Yes, yeah, I do ask him regularly what's happening next, and he doesn't tell me, is the honest answer. No, I know, you know, there's things happening somewhere.
Oh, very cryptic, very cryptic.
There are things happening somewhere, but no one has asked me to do it officially yet, so you could be watching a movie about JB, I don't know.
There's a lady right behind you there, if you just pass the microphone back, thank you.
Hello, sweetheart.
Hello, sweetheart.
If you were trapped in Valentine's Day, who would you like to come rescue?
Who would I
Wow.
like to come rescue me?
Doesn't have to be clean.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it clean. David Bowie's my hero. He is, yeah. I'm gonna keep it platonic on this one, I think. Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Let's go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fantastic. I've come to rescue you.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lady here in the front row, thank you, with the glasses.
Hi, Taron. First of all, congratulations to your Empire Award. And my question actually concerns the comic. Have you actually read it before you did the movie, or did you read it afterwards?
So basically, I hadn't read it before. I hadn't read any of Mark's comics before. But I've just alienated approximately 57% of you. I read it while I was auditioning, yeah. I think, and Colin had read it by that stage. Yeah, so I read it when I was auditioning.
I was actually wondering, because in the comic, he's not actually called Exy at all. He's always Gary.
He's called Gary Unwin,
and
yeah.
he's quite the jerk. So whose decision was it actually to make him in the movie really lovable? I think Exy is actually one of the most lovable characters.
I really, really tried. What can I say? The Eggsy thing, if my memory serves me correctly, Eggsy is the name is the nickname of one of Mark Millar's best friends. And Matthew heard it and just loved it, basically. There's lots of little people being called friends things in the movie, you know, little cryptic, they're all Matthew's mates, basically, you know. So, yes, I think that was just, Matthew just felt that it was something that would stick in the memory, I guess, you know. He's clever, you know. Gary is quite forgettable, I think, you know, whereas Eggsy kind of is quite unusual.
There are two people at the sides with their arms up for so long, I'm getting worried about their health. So there's a gentleman over here, thank you. He's already got the microphone.
As another young, great British actor playing a spy and mentioning JB, Would you take on Bond?
I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit. I don't know. I'm a bit boyish for Bond, aren't I? He's kind of like he's all man. Like he's like Daniel Craig and big, muscly, rugged. I think. I suspect I'm probably not the best man for the job. Obviously, it's every little boy's dream, but also. I don't know. What am I going to say? Yeah, I'll play Bond. Bring it on. Yeah. No,
Oh, now you've said it. Oh, it's out there now. 10 years' time, maybe?
maybe 10 years'
Yeah.
time, when the beard fills in.
Eggsy Bond team up. I could see it happening. Split screen.
Eggsy Bond,
do
yeah, that was it.
There's a
I'd
gentleman
outdo him.
Right over here on the right hand side.
Hi, thank you. Two-part question.
Oh, that's cheeky.
Okay. You also worked with the legendary Michael Caine. What was it like working with him, and did you learn anything from him?
He's amazing. He's an amazing man. He first thing you need to know about Michael Caine is he's got massive hands. That's the first thing I noticed. Huge, enormous hands. I've got like I borrowed my hands from a 12-year-old girl, and he's just got these like big bin-lid hands. I mean, I always think it's always just like your question when you're asked what you learn from other actors, because I think it's so about you express yourself through other characters. So you can't learn to do the you can learn to do the Michael Caine impression, but you can't really learn how to act like someone else, because you can only really express yourself. That being said, I think there's a lot to be said for how someone like Michael Caine conducts himself on set. He's a really, really, really generous, warm-spirited man who he kind of has everyone in the palm of his hand. So and he's obviously such a piece of cinema history that everyone on set is kind of tuned into him and listening to him, and he has these great stories, and he's very funny. I mean, if you figure out how to learn what Michael Caine does, then please do let me know. It's a recipe for longevity, isn't it?
It's amazing. He's in his 80s and he's still doing it. He still seems to have the appetite.
In
and
his
the drive
80s, and you think like, they say that you grow more frail and you get smaller when you get old. I mean, he must have been 8'3" about 30 years ago. Like, he's enormous.
You mentioned it there, and you learned to do the Michael Caine impression. Did you learn to do the Michael Caine impression? And would you?
I didn't learn to do it. Matthew came up to me on set one day and said, "Okay, so I've had this idea. You're going to do a Michael Caine impression in the credits." And I went, "Matthew, you're going to kill my career before it's even started." Thankfully, it didn't make the cut, and I'm assured that the footage has been destroyed. There is no way I'm doing a Michael Caine impression now. Just no way.
All right, we'll let you off. There's a lady right at the very back.
Hello. It's not actually a question about the film. I was wondering if you were interested...
That's okay, I do lots of other things as well.
I was wondering, actually, if you were interested in doing more theatre.
Yes, I am. Desperate to. It's been over two... yes, I'm desperate to. It's been over 2 years since I've been on stage now, and it is, I know all actors say this, but it really is that is my first love. That's what I got into it for. That's how I trained, and I'm just kind of hoping someone will bring that opportunity along, really. I'd like to do something like I've not done Shakespeare since I was at drama school, and it would scare the hell out of me to do it now, and that's kind of good. That's what I want, really. I think that they're the exciting things as an actor, to go and do stuff that is frightening and challenging and makes you feel out of your comfort zone. So that was a really long and boring way of saying yes.
But since Kingsman, you've done a couple of other movies. You've
Legend
with Tom
Legend,
Hardy.
which comes out later this year, which I mean, blink and you miss me, guys. I'm not a big part in it, but I play a sort of sidekick to Ron Craig. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Yes, so I'm in that, and I've just finished filming Eddie the Eagle with Hugh Jackman, and that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that was great fun.
We got time for two last questions. Wow. Okay. Do you want to choose, or there's a lady here with glasses right in the back row? If you could just pass the microphone forward.
What do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you first started getting into acting?
I don't know. I think you learn things you learn things when you learn them, and that's what life is. And I've been so I'm telling you all what life is now, guys. 25-year-old man from Wales. I'm going to tell you all what life is. I think I'm satisfied. I'm a very different person to the person I was when I was 16, and I cringe when I think of the person I was when I was 16. But that's how you change and how you adapt and how you become a more rounded, hopefully more mature person. So I'm kind of satisfied with the rate at which I've learned things and the rate at which I've grown up and the rate at which I will continue to grow up. I don't know. I mean, I don't know really. I guess, everyone has that thing when when I first started acting, I think I was probably, it was the kind of class clown in me, the sort of the showman in me, probably the attention seeker in me a little bit, and actually the type of acting I really love now is not that. I think there's always an element of, depending on the type of film or project you're working on, doing something with panache and relish and kind of zeal, but I guess maybe I'd have been a bit less showy, but that was, I don't know really. I learned that when I learned it. I'm only 25. Give me a break.
There's a young guy here in a baseball cap just against a pillar.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you.
What was it like to watch your own movie?
Okay. Good question. The first time I watched it, it was totally overwhelming. I mean, I say this now outside of my own involvement with it. I say this because this is Matthew. I do think it's an awesome film. I'm really proud of it, and I think Matthew is amazing. But the first time I watched it, it was so much to process that I came out and I sort of couldn't speak really. Matthew didn't let me watch rushes really either the first time I did it. So he wouldn't let me go and watch on monitors. And I came out and I called him, and I don't think I spoke. I don't speak in coherent sentences anyway, as you are beginning to learn. But I certainly didn't then, and it was kind of overwhelming and difficult to process. The second time I watched it, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. And also the second time I watched it, I enjoyed it more as a film. The first time I was watching it from probably quite a vain point of view, scrutinising everything I was doing, and then the more times I've watched it, I've been able to enjoy it in its entirety and all the fantastic elements of the film that are absolutely nothing to do with me or my performance. There was a full stop there.
There was a full stop there, yeah. So you planning to have a viewing party when it comes out on Monday?
A viewing party?
Yeah.
Now, I say I love Kingsman. I don't love it enough to watch it more than 10 times in a few weeks. I have seen that film a lot. I will be happy to... I'll probably, if we do another one, I'll watch it just before we do another one.
Okay, there we go. I'm afraid that's all the time we have, guys. Sorry if you didn't get your question asked, but thank you so much for coming. The movie's out on DVD and Blu-ray on Monday. Thank you for coming. Thanks for your questions. Thanks, of course, Taron Egerton. Thank you.